Good evening. How are you? This is Ansi. I'm coming to you live in two places actually, here and also YouTube. And tonight I was going to share with you my thoughts on what it means to teach to who's in front of you, because this has come up in my circles recently, and I've been fielding quite a few answers to that and my thoughts about it. And so I thought I might as well share it with you on here. So if you are watching me live, then do jump on and say hi. Tell me where you are and whether you're ready for bed or not, or maybe it's the other side of the world and you're awake right now. Or if you're watching this on the replay, then hashtag replay. So this is my weekly Thursday evening UK time that I've kind of committed to doing, to share my thoughts with you, thoughts from the mat. And it's interesting because I have planned some stuff and, I go with whatever's happening at the time. So teaching to who's in front of you is something that I've been answering about, whether it's to do with yoga teaching or body balance teaching. And teaching to who's in front of you, I think, is so crucial, because sometimes I think we get so caught up with what we are about to deliver that we almost forget about the people in front of us. Simone, hello from Australia. Good morning. Jean, hello, Jean. Haven't seen you in ages. So do feel free, if you're watching, to jump on and ask me some questions. I can see the comments on Facebook, not necessarily YouTube. So let me tell you, going back like 30 odd years, for me, teaching was very much back then about planning my lesson, because this was pre-Les Mills for me. Ida Gothenburg, Sweden. I need to say hello or good evening in Swedish, Ida. So back pre-Les Mills, and I was teaching freestyle, I spent huge amounts of time creating choreography. So I would put my own music together. This was the days of vinyl records and cassette tapes, and I was doing all of that. And I spent a huge amount of time creating the choreography, selecting the kind of music that I wanted to. And then I would teach. And I was very much about teaching what I planned, because I spent so much time and effort putting it together. So I would rock up, teach, had my options in there, the bog standard ones, and then that was it. The end of class, and I would leave. And then 1999, I was introduced to the world of Les Mills with body balance initially. And then, well, actually, I did body pump first. That's a whole different story. But I wanted to find out about Les Mills as a company. So I went off and did a body pump module. And then I was now learning someone else's choreography. And obviously with Les Mills, this is a product, it is a global product. And so it's really important to ensure that we deliver the choreography as it's meant to. So now, instead of spending huge amounts of time planning, I was spending huge amounts of time learning the choreography, perfecting the technique. And so at the same thing, I would rock up, I would spend hours and days sometimes, and then I would turn up at the club that I'm teaching at, put the music on, deliver the choreography, again with the standard options, and then the class finishes and I leave. And so that constituted a huge part of my life. But what was actually important for me is, as I grew older and as I started to be more comfortable with doing that I started to think, hang on a minute, these are people in front of me and they need my support and they need my help. And so, going back to yoga classes, which is what I primarily teach now, I still spend time planning and prepping, but what's really important now is not the finer detail, But what is important is the intention. It's the intention. And the same when I still teach body balance these days. I'm still a trainer on the team, and it's, I learn the choreography, but it's also very much about the track focus and the overall feel and intention of the class. So I'm going to give you 2 points of view. With teaching yoga for me and teaching to who's in front of me, I have a lesson plan. Actually, mine's in a book that I scribble in. And the people that do their training with me and they choose to stay on as ambassadors get a PDF of the lesson plan, one a month. And what happens from there is it's just a guide. It is a skeleton. So this time of the year, especially now as things in the UK are starting to open up and people haven't exercised for a long time, or they've been exercising at home, they're not as fit as they used to. There are also people that are coming to class that perhaps now value the importance of exercise and taking care of themselves and so helping to support their immune system. But they're overweight, they've got joint issues, back issues, they may not, have ever done a down dog in their life. So the lesson plan from a yoga perspective, or if you're teaching freestyle, I believe anyway, this is my point of view, is that should be a loose skeleton of a lesson plan. We have an intention for that class that we wish to share with them, and it's about them and it is for them. And then we rock up. And for me, it's very much like, even right at the very beginning, how I start the class, and introduce gentle mobilization work. If we're really kind of setting them up with a move and then just stepping back and allow them to move in their own time, 2 things will happen. One is they kind of learn very quickly that they need to figure things out themselves, as opposed to being spoon-fed. And they are adults, and if we want them to learn, then the best way to learn is if they can understand what you're trying to achieve, what they're trying to achieve, and they can work out what works best for them. How do I move from standing upright to touching the floor, right? What do I need to do to get my fingers on the floor? Well, we don't need to tell them to bend their knees. They'll be able to work it out. And then if they can't, we can then give them some suggestions. And they are only suggestions. Hey, Gemma. The other thing about stepping back and watching and observing is you will get a very quick idea about their ability as a group. So very early on in my Les Mills career, I realized, and it was my first trip to New Zealand, is that, I realized that if I wanted 100% of the people in my classes to do it right, then I could ask myself, am I doing it right so that they look right, they're the right shape? Is that for my benefit or is it for them? Okay, so that's a whole nother Facebook Live. So if I step back and just watch them move, it will tell me that, okay, I need to pace this class very differently to how I would pace a class that's full of regulars. So I've said this to quite a few of my teachers, especially if they're new to teaching yoga, is they have to start, you have to start building your own following, and that will take time. So for someone like me, I've been teaching a while, but even then, at my yoga studio, I took on a Tuesday evening class for lots of reasons. I decided to take it on about 2 months ago, thereabouts. Up until then, it was taught by another teacher. And so there were people in this class who weren't familiar to the way I teach because they don't come to my classes on the timetable. And then there were a couple of my regulars, but the numbers were about a third of the capacity. And it took me a long time to build it. It took me probably like 6 weeks to build up the numbers so that there is a waiting list. Okay. But I've been teaching for 30 years. So if you're brand new to teaching, it's about finding your own way with it, building your own confidence along the way, but then also teaching in the way so that you are teaching to really, what do they need? Who have you attracted to that class? You could say that, well, I didn't attract them because it's on the club and it's on the timetable, right? But you will attract them because they will come back if you connect well with them. So meet them where they are. Meet them where they are. Whatever intentions you have, the intentions can still be taught. They just don't need to be taught exactly as you have planned. They don't. And then from there, you can start to cultivate a culture within your class of people that connect with you, they get the way you think, and they will come back for more. But until that time, peel it back. Take your time with it. If they're struggling with the sun salutation, then you could spend the first few lessons, breaking down the sun salutation for them, making it more accessible for them. Maybe start it at the lowest entry point, if you like, and then over the weeks, build it up to make it more challenging. Right. So, and the same applies for body balance. Body balance, we're a little bit, more restricted because we are working to music. But I also remember quite a few years ago, I agreed to cover a body balance class at a center that I've never taught at. But I agreed to cover because I knew that they just launched the program, very recently. They didn't have many teachers on board, and they needed help. So I thought, I'm free, I'll go along and help them. I walked into this class. I walked into the venue, and there was reception. And I said, "Hi, I'm Nancy, and I'm here to cover the body balance class today." And the person at reception says, "Oh, great. They hate body balance here." And that was all I got, right? And I was like, interesting. So two things. I knew that it was a new program. And now I knew that they actually hated the program. And I'm thinking, it's new. Why do they hate it? So then I started to inquire. So, I'm curious. I said to the reception, I'm curious. Tell me why. Why is that the case? So I got a viewpoint. When I then went into the class, I could see the average age range, and I started to chat and talk with the people that were there to find out, their feelings about stuff. It was a daytime class, and they were all women actually, and they were all women who were in their 70s plus, give or take. And they had been going to this venue for like 20 years. They love their yoga. And what this center had done is that they'd removed all the yoga classes and replaced them with body balance. So that is why they felt really, like they hated body balance, because it's taken away something they've been doing there for 20 years. So I had all this information. Then when I started, I could tell straight away, right, this ain't going to happen. So I had the music really low. So it was almost like background music, unlike how the volume I would have it at if I was teaching a regular body balance class, one of my regular classes. And the choreography I had chosen was one where, you kind of did a twist, a lunge to one side, then you kind of pivot around the back of around the back of your mat and come back the other way. And I just dropped all of that. All the fancy transitions I just dropped, and I just got them to switch sides in their own way. So and I taught pretty much everything at the lowest entry point for body balance. And then from there, I could see the ones that were stronger, that were more able, and then I could say to them, right, then you try this instead. You guys know this. You guys know what a warrior 3 is, or whatever it is, and then they could then explore, and they felt more comfortable doing, taking an option, which would have been what was as per choreography. But because I didn't lead with it, they felt that, they felt in control. And so they ended up doing the choreography anyway. So this is what, for me, teaching to who's in front of you actually means, right? Strip it back, strip it right back if you need to. I have taught, whether it's, like body balance, I have taught body balance in centers where I've actually taken them through the sun salutation with no music before we start the class. I have done that because of the ability of the class, or lack of, right? In order to build their confidence. So in a 55-minute class, I've stripped it back. I've shortened it to a 45-minute format, and I've taken a little bit of time to just teach them the body, the sun salutation, and anything tricky, kind of like a little mini technique session beforehand. Years ago when body balance was new, exactly, Jean, right? When body balance was very new in this country, when body pump was very new in the country, centers and clubs used to run technique sessions, little 15-minute technique sessions. And then over time, as the programs got more prolific, they were dropped from the timetable because timetables got very busy. But if it's brand new to people, if they need it, strip it back so they feel successful. If they feel successful, they're going to be happy. If they're going to be happy, then that is going to be fed back to management, right? So, so strip it back. If you're teaching yoga, especially those of you that are teaching my kind of yoga, and if you're an ambassador, you have the lesson plan, don't be afraid to strip it back. We have the lesson plan for a whole month. And those of you, if you're watching this and you teach yoga, you're not trained by me, or if you teach Pilates, you're not trained by me, you're doing your own lesson plans, etc. What I used to do in my early days, and I still teach this today, is to make your life easy or easier by doing your planning once a month. Do your planning once a month. So you have that lesson plan for the month. I used to have a black book. It must be somewhere, probably in storage, where I kept, this was when I was living in Luton, and I wrote down David Lloyd's, and then September, right? And I had a skeleton lesson plan. Then I was also teaching at the time in Living Well, which was then bought out by Bannatynes. So I would put down Bannatynes, and they were different ability level, different time of day, the class. And I would put the same month, September. And I would keep it because then over the month, I would progress that lesson plan. Okay, so this is what I encourage my kind of yoga ambassadors to do, is that I provide them with the lesson plan for the month, and then they can strip it right back and then build it up over the 4 weeks. So that the people in front of you feel successful. And then I think I caught sight of someone saying, well, what about, like, if you've got a room full of beginners, it's great. What if your mixed ability, with the bulk of them as new people, brand new to exercise, brand new to yoga, not very able, no body awareness, got some injuries, etc. And then you've got like a handful that are, very able, been doing it for a while, they're fit, they know their yoga. Those people just need permission to go, to fly. You can, and this is why it's important to teach people the name of the exercises or name of the pose, because then you can say, everybody, we're moving into bird pose. Those of you that know bird, go. Stop playing. And then they've got permission to do what they want to do, and they'll have fun with it. And then you can focus on the 80% or 90% that are brand new. Okay? And they will thank you for it. All right? So that was what I wanted to share this evening about teaching to the people in front of you. Even if you have choreography that is planned by somebody else, or you've got your own choreography, right? Or lesson plan. It could be circuitry, it could be whatever. It is a guideline. When it comes to programs like Les Mills, yes, we do need to stick to it, but you need to get to know your people and you want to nurture them and create a culture that is connected to you, that is your culture. Because people, regardless of choreography, regardless of the type of program, choreographed by somebody else or not, they will come to class because of you. So be brave, create your own culture, and nurture the people in your classes. This is a fantastic time to do that. You know, things are opening up. People are coming back to class for the first time. Okay, or for a long time. They're first time back for a long time. So take your time with it. So that's my Thursday's thoughts from my mat this week. If you're watching the replay, #replay. I would love to know your thoughts. I will come back in and read your comments. If you have any questions on this particular area, please just pop it in the comments below, and I will answer. I'll jump on probably tomorrow now and answer your questions. You can also always private message me as well. And if you found this useful, or if you know if this will be useful for somebody else, then feel free to share it. With your network. This has also been streamed live into YouTube. It's the first time I'm ever doing that, so I need to go and check and see how that worked. So yeah, so if you're interested in exploring a concept, a structure on how you could, of what you can do to support your life, then you may have already seen somewhere I'm doing the Essentials Masterclass. It starts tomorrow for 3 days. Someone did ask me if I'm going to be running it again, not till next year. So my plans now for till the end of August 2022 has been scheduled, and most of the programs are going to be run just once because they form the love letter experience. You can take them individually, or you can take them sign up for the whole experience, for everything, at a discount. But if you are wanting to do the Essential Masterclass and you can't make it, it will be recorded so you can watch it on catch up. And I'm always around to answer questions if you're not able to do it live, and the questions pop up after. Okay. So thank you very much for joining me this evening, all the way from Australia and Sweden and the UK and Scotland. So enjoy your evening. And if you are in my Facebook group, Yoga How to Live Life, then I will pop on live there tomorrow for the weekly live in that particular group. All right. So thank you, everybody. Lovely to see you too, Jean. Have a good evening, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye.